It's 5 o'clock in Pirate Country, and it's time to get pumped up with the P-Man. Hit the door and hit the road. 94.3 The Game is going to get you home, and the P-Man's not holding back.
Yes! Yes! Pirates win! Pirates win!
Bring on the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
Holy mackerel! Oh, my goodness!
The flagship station of the ECU Pirates.
All right, hello again, everybody. It is a Victory Wednesday. The Pirates take down the Blazers of UAB. And they did it in really dramatic come-from-behind fashion. Pirates were down a dozen. And I'm not going to lie, Pilk, when they got down a dozen, I thought to myself, we've seen this movie before. But you know what? Mike Schwartz, I thought, called a timely and brilliant timeout that led to the Pirates whittling it down. They were down 7 going into the media. And then after that, it was a hell of a game in the second half. It was a back-and-forth affair. I mean, there were guys just making plays in the second half of the game yesterday. And UAB didn't lose it. East Carolina beat them. And I would have liked there to have been a bigger crowd, but the crowd got into it. And that was a good win. It needed to be celebrated. We had Cy Seymour on Talk of the Town this morning. I've hosted the last 2 days for Henry. And so we had him on in the coveted 8 o'clock hour. And the reason we had him on was because I thought it was, I mean, that's an important win. Now, you go to Charlotte, last place in the league, and you know, PI, away.
Blank running down your leg.
Little blank running down your leg. It doesn't mean anything. But, you've got to, Pilk, take advantage of the fact that this, you got some Mo right now, 5 of 7. We've said it. I think it was on display. Look, I had somebody text me say there's a problem with the ESPN audio. And I was thinking, why are you texting and telling me? They said, the guy who's on the play-by-play sounded like you. I said, it's not me. He doesn't sound as good as me. Those weren't the only differences, by the way, between me and the play-by-play guy. He gets more money than I get. What did you think I meant, Pill? Come on.
No, all I was saying is they were texting you. They thought that you could at least text some people over at ECU and let them know, but it's totally
Nothing
a different
to do
crew.
with
It's the worldwide leader. It's Disney, who's so perfect, who's so wonderful, who's so great in every way. But guess what? They messed up their things. Normally, it actually is wonderful and great at East Carolina because it's ran by some hardworking folks over there that are friends of ours at East Carolina.
Kyle Gaskins, Mike Miles,
and
Kyle Williams, Noah.
Yeah, and guess what? Yesterday, it was ran by the worldwide leader, the worldwide leader of wokeness and messing stuff up.
I was talking to Dr. No about you today.
Oh, God. This doesn't sound good. Now my camera's not working. We can't get Facebook to work. We can't get our cameras to work. Our camera, that's weird. Right? Yeah, Facebook is a Facebook problem. That's not an us problem. I mean, Dom had
meta?
Yeah.
It's a meta problem?
I'm going to send Facebook a strongly worded email. I don't know why my camera's not working. That's weird. I'm going to blame Buscemi for that one.
Yeah,
he refreshed some stuff. He redid some stuff today. He updated something. Yeah.
What a loon. What a guy that is. Well, that's fine. I mean,
we're recording this. I think I'm just going to post it on Facebook. So sorry if somebody likes to stream on Facebook normally. I'm just going to post it after the show because we're recording it.
Settle down. Be easy. Good grief.
I'm tired of technology not working. I'm not a tech guy. I'm a sports guy, Patrick. I need I need to sit down and just have the technology work so I can talk
I agree.
Sports.
That's the same way I am. I just, it needs to work or I'm going to have a problem. I know just enough from David Horn's shown me stuff over the years that I'm just enough to be dangerous.
Anyways,
But
your
back to the
conversation with
game.
you and Dan about me, what were y'all saying?
Oh, they're just your strong beliefs in politics and your fandom for sports. So I'm sitting there, and we've said this repeatedly, Pilk, and you were at the game last night. I watched it here. Walker, by the way, when he was from the seat of his pants and made the shot, should have counted. The fact that they waved it off, I actually jumped up off of where I was sitting in the big chair in the work at the Casa de Johnson at the Working Man's Beach. I jumped up. That's how excited I was on that play. And then the officials waved. And what did I tell you about the officiating, Bill?
You said the boys in purple and gold were not going to get any calls.
They didn't get a break till it was late. And I mean, when the Walker thing was waved off, and then he missed the free throw. I thought, And that, if I'm not mistaken, they hit the three to tie it, didn't they? After that,
they tied it at 75. Yeah. So I think that next three they hit was actually the last points they scored.
Yeah, and I thought to myself, it'd be a bad way to go. Bad way to go. Anyway, we've said it, and R.J. Felton was fantastic last night. We got good R.J. last night. 23 points, the layup to kind of, I believe, put him ahead. But C.J. Walker is the truth. C.J. Walker is the best player in the American right now this last month. Obviously one of the better ones in college basketball, or he would not have gotten the award that he got from the basketball writers this week. But, if he's not on the first team All-AAC, there needs to be an investigation. It would be criminal to keep him off. He's been that fantastic. Been amazing. And he made a move last night, Pilk. I don't know if it was a first half move. He got the ball in the half court on the wing, and he had a three, and he kind of faked the three, and he dribbled in, and he may have spun, but he kind of stopped and did a mid-range elbow pull-up and drilled it.
I remember what shot you're talking about, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's just not, all right, I'm going to take a three, and I got to dunk. That's all I'm going to do. And like I said, we got a great version of RJ last night. It was good to see Cam Hayes play really, really well.
He was another one that was good off the bounce. He had a couple pull-up mid-range.
And that's Cam's game. Cam doesn't need to fall in love with the three-point shot. He needs to use his abilities and talents to go off the dribble and take the jumper. Let's hear some post-game remarks. This is Coach Swartz after the game.
Tremendous amount of respect for Coach Kennedy, the UAB basketball program, and their players. I mean, just ultimate respect for them and their program. Fortunate that we were able to get a big win, and very proud of the resiliency of this team. Led tonight by RJ and CJ. I mean, I thought they were dynamic, but I thought we got contributions from everybody across the board. And in a highly emotional and competitive game, guys continued to respond, whether it was having an off play, making a mistake, the score flipping, not in our favor, the ability to stay on task of what we had to do, I thought was really strong. It ended up being the difference for us tonight, and why we're fortunate to win.
He talked about the teams trading buckets in the second half down the stretch.
UAB is one of the elite offensive teams in the country. I mean, not just the American. I mean, they are a top offensive team. And I thought, again, we were changing up our defense, whether it was with our man or zone, looking for different things. They were playing through Yaxel, but we were playing through CJ and RJ. And they were playing zone. And I thought our decisiveness on offense in the second half really went to another level. And that's fun basketball when it's going back and forth like ping pong like that, going back and forth, back and forth. You have to keep answering. They answered, we answered, and down the stretch we were fortunate to make some plays.
And he talked about CJ's coachability. He says that's what sets him apart.
CJ's coachability, and I'll talk about him because I know he won't talk about himself. And I hope the nation realizes what a special player he is, and his coachability as a senior to come in here, as a graduate senior to come in here and be so willing and a sponge to learn, whether it's a new system as a team, new offense, defense, play a different position, but continue to grow in his fundamentals. And I've said this many times, so I'm on record saying this. I still believe the best basketball is in front of him as well as he's playing right now. Every single day in the gym, the way he works to pick up, whether it's footwork, whether it's positioning, whether it's more understanding of angles on offense and what it may be. And that's a credit to him. It's a credit to this team because he is a leader on this team with RJ and with Jordan and other guys. But he has taken a humility about him to say, I want to continue to grow and be better, which is not easy for someone that's been in college, as you said, for 5-6 years. And that is why I think he is doing what he's doing, having the success he's doing. He's putting the work in, but he's willing to learn, as he said, and develop, and he's extremely coachable as a leader. And we're really proud and fortunate to have him.
Mike, on his team playing well in tight games.
Here's the thing about this team. We go into these games and we expect them. We don't ever expect a team to go away. We don't hope UAB doesn't play well when they come in here. That is an excellent ball club with great players and great coaches and incredible tradition. We expect to get teams' best fight, best punch. And our whole thing is we have to find a way to outlast that. And CJ mentioned the rope. We're going to keep pulling and tugging on that rope until that clock is all on zeros. But we are embracing the fact that this is a big-time basketball league, and we're going to be in these games. We're not going into games hoping we're not in these games. We prepare for them every day. We embrace it. We talk about it during the game. We don't expect any teams to go anywhere. I just know we're not going to go anywhere.
And then Mike talked about the late game rebounding and how that was the difference in the game.
Honestly, Stephen, that was the difference in the game because when I say that, I mean they had 9 or 10 offensive rebounds in the first half. And in the second half, this score sheet looks a little different than the one I got because I know they were changing it. But we limited their offensive rebounds in the second half. And that was a big deal for us. That was truly the primary discussion at halftime, was we have to limit their offensive rebounds. Our zone and some of the things we were doing were forcing them into shots that we wanted them to take. Not that that's not going to make them. They're really good players, good team. But when we got those misses, we weren't securing the rebound on the defensive end. So at halftime, that was really paramount, was our ability to control the defensive glass. Hey, if they make them and they make them on our terms, that's why they're where they are in this league and such a good ball club. But we have to, and we made some adjustments from a defensive rebounding standpoint. And I honestly think, Stephen, that was the biggest change in the second half. And when you rebound the ball well, it's amazing how much it helps your transition game. And then we made threes in the second half, and I think all of that went hand in hand.
Very active Igo in this press conference, Pilk. And then the steal by Jordan Riley late in the game.
That's huge. And what's even bigger is that Jordan doesn't have his typical offensive game. I mean, we have so much confidence in Jordan Riley and how consistent a player is. I've said this many times right here. He practices every day, so consistent, and he plays that same way. So tonight was a game that offensively it wasn't clicking for him in the first maybe 32 minutes. For him to respond the way he did down the stretch with the drive, with the making the free throws, the rebounding, and that defensive steal, and by the way, he had 4 assists. That is the true definition of a winner. That's somebody that is willing to do whatever it takes to win, even when the glamorous stuff isn't going his way. And the whole team and myself really proud of him for that. And I thought a lot of guys did that across the board, but I thought Jordan closed the game like a big-time closer, to your point.
And let's get to C.J. Walker, who finished with, was it 29 or 28, Pilk? It was...
I don't have it in front of me. 28 sounds right.
Okay, we're going to give him 28. If we owe him one, we will. But C.J. on how the team held up late despite being on shorter rest than UAB.
They do a really good job of making us do our recovery and stuff like that. So, everybody on this team takes that real serious. And we had everybody in there today, yesterday, getting work on their bodies. And then prepping for games like this, fast-paced games, we prep for games like this so that when we do get in them games that we're not caught off guard.
My apologies, 29.
Okay. It's all right. Don't want to give short shrift when you have a game like that. Talked about the defensive mindset in a back-and-forth game.
You know, we got to have a defensive mindset in situations like that because we're going to trust our offense, but it's just important not to give up buckets in that situation. And, you know, they're a really good team. So, you know, they were able to come out with a couple tough buckets there, a couple buckets that I don't think we should have gave up. But, you know, that's what happens in a basketball game. So just defense was going through my mind this game and just being able to stop them guys so we could pull out on top.
And one more, CJ on Howe. He has continued to improve and has done so in his 6th year.
When I came here, before I even got here, they showed me a lot of things I could work on that would help my game out. And during the summer, I just took pride in that so that, you know, when the games came, it wasn't no surprise for me. So.
Wow, 6th year. I knew he was old. I didn't know he was that old. It was probably, even though he didn't start at East Carolina, it was probably ECTC when he started in college.
Well, you know what's funny, Pilk? You know what used to happen in college basketball?
You'd play 4 years, but everybody thought you played longer than you did, like Perry Ellis.
No. You played for 4 years, and you got better each year. And as you got better each year, your stock went up. It's a hell of a concept.
I know. It's weird how that works, how you get better.
Yeah, pretty amazing.
Everyone, a little breaking news for you.
The feds have dropped the criminal probe into whether former WWE boss and ECU alum Vince McMahon covered up sexual misconduct allegations. This is what his lawyers are claiming. This just broke. And Vince McMahon, it's being reported, federal prosecutors in Manhattan dropped a criminal probe that focused on whether former World Wrestling Entertainment boss Vince McMahon tried to cover up multiple allegations of sexual misconduct. The revelation comes as appeals judges on Friday revealed that a grand jury had considered whether the 79-year-old billionaire broke the law by hiding allegations of sexual misconduct from two former female employees whom he ended up paying $10 million to keep quiet. So there you go. Vince McMahon no longer being investigated by the feds. All right, let's hit a break. When we come back, we're going to talk to our pal Brian Mull, and we will talk about last night's ECU win over UAB, talk some more college hoops. CBB Scribe, Brian Mull, at BG Mull on Twitter, when we come back.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
Living easy is the sound of children laughing as you make memories with neighbors and friends. It's the sound of nothing at all. It's the smell of the salt air. Hear the waters against the marsh grass. See the beauty of our coast. Bow Coast, located in Beaufort, North Carolina. Southern Living's best small town.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked-to-order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human, about creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
Your roof is a vital part of protecting your home and family from dangerous storms and hurricanes. At Assist Roofing, we install and maintain metal roofing that provides precise protection. Add value to your home while lowering utility costs with a fortified roof to last a lifetime. With 0% financing, grants, and Energy Star Green Roofing tax credit available. Call us to schedule a free consultation so you can weather any storm with confidence.
You ready for this?
Oh, I'm very ready. Okay, ready?
You ready? Streaming to the world at 943thegame.com. This is the Patrick Johnson Show. Now in all his glory, here's the P-Man.
Our pal Brian Mull joins us. He's in a good mood, not because ECU beat UAB, though he was impressed with that, because Fish is a finalist for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. The great Brian Mull, college basketball scribe, with us here. What's up, Mull?
Hello, gentlemen. Everything's good. A little bit of a gloomy day down here in the coastal area, but spring is knocking on the door, which means March Madness is only a few weeks away, and the East Carolina Pirates, as you mentioned, starting to show a little life here as we get into the dog days.
5 out of 7, and what I think was particularly impressive last night is they got down 12 to UAB, and I thought to myself, this is not looking good because UAB had been playing really, really well. But then East Carolina, Mike Schwartz, took a timeout. I think it was a very well-placed timeout, and then they got down to 7 at the media out of that timeout. And then from there, I mean, that was a really good game in the second half. Both these teams were exchanging baskets. This wasn't a slop fest or anything like that or a battle of attrition who could survive the rock fight. I mean, these guys, for both sides, were making plays in the final 10 minutes of the game.
No doubt. And RJ and CJ just showing their value as the Pirates' 2 stars there, combining for 52 points. And when you look at the second half, ECU, outscoring UAB 51-39. And anytime you can put up a 50-burger in college basketball against a top 100-ish type opponent, that's just signs that the offense has found something and is clicking. The rotations are tighter, and it seems like the chemistry on the court is better. Just taking care of the basketball, which is so important. Only have 7 turnovers, and anytime you can beat Andy Kennedy this time of year, his teams historically always improve and are playing their ball at the end of the year. And it looks like the Pirates are doing the same and have an opportunity to finish above 500 in the American, and what an accomplishment that would be.
Pirates will enter the game against Charlotte on Saturday, 14-11 and 6-6 in the AAC. Currently, they're in 7th place and a half game out of Temple for 5th, who they split with this year. Charlotte is 2-10. Now, they've played some competitive games, but they are 2-10 and 9-16. Pirates are going to Charlotte. It's been a while since they've won there. I think we have found out that it hasn't been decades like we thought, but I mean, it was back around 2020 is the last time they won. Point is, the Niners have not won a whole lot the Niners have not lost a whole lot to ECU at Charlotte. Easy for me to say. And the Pirates need to go into that one. Charlotte will be kind of desperate. It'll be a big deal for them to beat ECU, and the Pirates will need to try to do what they have to do to keep the good times rolling and get a victory. Boy, it would be a big one to knock off the 49ers, only because they went there last year and kind of got summarily spanked.
And with the sadness that the Niners have inflicted on the Pirates on the gridiron in the last couple of seasons, it would be some nice payback if here in the next couple of weeks the basketball Pirates can pick up a sweep of their in-state rival. And really, if you look at that you see a pathway to 4 wins in these last 6 games, which would ensure that 10-8 mark in the American. I think that would be a sign of progress under Mike Schwartz and a sign that this team has developed. Yeah, Charlotte's they're kind of reeling they just don't have a lot of options. Scoring, they're not quite as good inside as they were last year, and whatever magic they had in Aaron Fern's first season seems to have faded, which is not uncommon. Sometimes that second season can be the most difficult for a new coach, but they'll have to earn it. I don't know if the students, generally a good crowd there at the Helton Arena, but I don't know if they've lost interest. I would say that Charlotte may be the most negative fan base in America.
I'd like to introduce you to the ECU baseball fan. Hey, Pilk, you know a thing or two about Charlotte. What's the mood there on the campus, Pilk? You got spies everywhere. It's your hometown.
Yeah, I think it's a little disappointing, right? I mean, this is a team that this is a fan base who really prides themselves on college basketball, especially going back to the Bobby Lutz days. And even though they've gotten a football team now, it still seems like the basketball team is the big man on campus, for lack of a better term. And to be 2-10 in a conference that they thought when they joined, due to the departure of teams like Houston, Cincinnati, and UCF, they thought they would consistently be in the top half of the league, and there's a little bit of frustration now. Be interesting to see what the crowd looks like on Saturday for this one. Normally they get up for Saturday afternoon games, especially against an in-state rival. My parents are going to be able to attend. I went last year, but it was prior to the start of college baseball season, so obviously I'm tied down here in Greenville this weekend. So it's going to be interesting to see, but yeah, according to my sister, it's just not the normal vibe around Charlotte basketball that they normally have.
Do you agree with Mull's assertion it is the most negative fan base in the AAC?
It can be, because honestly, a lot of these guys who grew up as Charlotte fans, who went to Charlotte because of them not having a football team, a lot of them are actually Carolina, Duke, or State fans as well. You don't have that East Carolina fandom where they're true just ECU fans at Charlotte. They're not just true Charlotte fans. So what happens when the going does get tough? They kind of go back to their, I grew up a State fan rooting for, why am I drawing Jim Valvano, where I grew up a Carolina fan rooting for Dean Smith before I went to Charlotte, because a lot of the people I know that are in their mid-50s right now, they were kind of first-generation college students. A lot of them grew up on farms in the area, and then they went to Charlotte, but they had already grown up rooting for someone else.
I don't think, they've had farms in the area out in the great state of Mecklenburg in a minute, huh?
No, those farms are now subdivisions and highways. And,
I got a friend who still owns one, right 5 miles from the campus.
Shopping
still
center.
in Mecklenburg County, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Okay.
Hey, Brian Mull with us here, talking hoops with him. How wide open is the American? North Texas got rid of Rice last night at Houston and have moved a game ahead in the win column of UAB, tied him in the loss column. You got Memphis still leading the way 10-1 in the American. How wide open is that conference tournament in your mind?
Oh, very much so. I mean, I think we have a scenario. I don't know if we'll see anything quite as wacky as we had last season, but I think, just off the top of my head, I see at least 4, if not 5 or 6 teams who could get hot and have enough offensive firepower to get on a little run there through the tournament. I mean, certainly Memphis will be the chalk in Vegas and elsewhere, and looking to solidify its seeding in the NCAA tournament. But a great opportunity for the American to become a multi-bid league. I mean, North Texas sure looks like a tournament team to me, but somebody's going to probably have UNC on the bubble ahead of them. And Andy Kennedy in a 3-day game in 3 day or atmosphere is very, very good. And Lindenborg is the kind of guy who can he's the rare guy that you got to double team, or just he's so hard to keep off the glass that he can dominate, and he could have 3 double-doubles and lead the Blazers to a championship.
Yeah, Brian Mull with us here. Let's talk a couple of ranked teams that are in action tonight. Top of the hour in Philly, it is number 9 St. John's at Villanova. They got a big win Friday, did the Johnnies at UConn, came back and won that game. This is not your typical Rick Pitino team. Ricky P's known for the press and the shooting. This is not a team that relies on the 3 a lot. I love the mid-range game that they go with. St. John's a favorite in the game tonight, but it's tight. How good are the Johnnies?
Rick Pitino is, had he not gone to the NBA, would be considered the greatest college basketball coach in history. Because here's a guy that was over in Europe and brought the three-point shot to America at Providence. And then, of course, at Kentucky, when nobody was shooting it. People thought it was crazy. It was still old school, throw the ball inside and get the shot you could close to the basket. And he started firing threes, and he started pressing, which teams weren't doing because he'd seen that style of play over there. And then all of a sudden now here we are where you have teams with 40, 45, 50% of their attempts from behind the three-point line. And now here he is at his age, all these years later, taking a program that really has been irrelevant for 2 decades, and he's built it in a completely different way. They don't shoot very many threes, and they don't make any. They're 29% and one of the worst 15 teams in the country. Yet, as you said, number 2 in Ken Palm in defense. They will still turn you over. They guard you inside the line. They protect the rim, and just has just restored that program to national prominence in 2 seasons, 21-3. I mean, just coming off a huge week. Where I thought that, we were going to find out if they were for real, and they were. They beat Marquette at home, and then they went on the road and beat the 2-time defending national champions. So we can talk Rick Pitino, litigate his off the court and whatever you want. But when it comes to coaching ball, Rick Pitino is probably the best college basketball coach of the last 40 years. He just doesn't have the record to show for it because he made some silly decisions and went to the NBA.
Still looks good in the suit, too. That dude, tailor-made. He's custom-made, baby. Custom-made, Ricky P.
I got a feeling they're still playing. He's still running pickup ball at lunch with the assistants. I mean, I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah, now they said he works out every day. All right. Duke also in action tonight, looking to bounce back after the loss at Clemson. They've got Cal tonight at 9 o'clock. You can hear it beginning at 8 on our sister station, Talk 103.7 WTIB. But the Blue Devils back home shouldn't have a problem with Cal tonight. Their stay, I think they fell from 2 to 3 in the polls. We'll talk about Clemson in a little bit, who also got an impressive win. I would say what they did against UNC is a little more impressive, but we'll get to that in a second. Were some things exposed with Duke the other night at Clemson?
They were. They got whipped at the 5. I thought that certainly, a lot of the attention's on Flagg not having a great game and his illness or whatever. But I mean, in the last 7 minutes, he did what great players do. But the difference in that game, and if you're a Duke fan, you have to be thrilled with what you've seen from Tyrese Proctor of late. Colin Knippel just continues to have a terrific freshman year as well. But Clemson won that game in the front court on the glass. Just punished Duke on the offensive glass, and Malawak was, looked like a 17 or 18-year-old against a grown man in Locken from Russia, and that was the difference. And I think when you look, even North Carolina was able to get a lot of offensive rebounds against Duke in a one-sided game. So going forward, that has to be a point of emphasis. I'm sure it has been. You can play great first shot defense, but it doesn't matter if you can't get the ball after a missed shot. I do think that was a game that Mason Gillis could have helped with his physicality and his experience and understanding of the value of the basketball as a fifth-year player. But you know what? I think anyone who kind of has a feel for this thing was looking at that game all along saying if Duke was going to lose one, that was the most likely one. They've lost many, gone down there and lost to Clemson is obviously a big game for them coming off the disappointing loss. And, the Blue Devils have got to get healthy. I think they've had a little illness and, things that happen, but I wouldn't, big picture, it really means nothing.
College basketball scribe Brian Mull with us here on the Patrick Johnson Show. Come back, the Tigers do, and they beat UNC, blew them out. I thought if there was ever a spot there would be a letdown, it would have been after the Duke win, but they were ready. And our old buddy Brad Brownell, you and I both have covered Brad and worked with Brad. I think one of the best coaches, really good guy too. I've always liked Brad a lot. And we talked about Rick Pitino. Brownell's a guy that just doesn't get enough credit.
He gets a lot of credit from anybody who has to coach against him, and always has. Ultimate respect. I've sat in on a number of his practices when he was here at UNCW, and he and his staff's ability to devise a game plan literally overnight, like in an NCAA tournament setting with an unfamiliar opponent, and to scout and take away the opponent's strengths and just play physically. And what he's really been able to do at Clemson here these last few years is just hit in the portal with the exact right kind of guys that he needs, along with some, guys that have remained in the program and some continuity. And look, I mean, this is a team that lost to Memphis in overtime. They lost to South Carolina in overtime. They lost to Georgia Tech in triple overtime. So there's 3 of their 5 losses. I mean, if you're looking at Clemson play basketball and you don't think they're a top 15, top 12 team in the country, I don't know what you're watching. Because this is a team, if Locken continues to play anywhere close to the level, you know what you're going to get from Shefflin. Hunter and Zachary are terrific guards. I mean, this is a team that could go to the Final Four. There's no doubt in my mind. They were there last year. They were very close to getting to that point. And Brad has built a culture. They tried to fire him there for about 5 years in a row. And he is, of all coaches, has taken advantage of, some of the slippage that we've seen from the perennial blue bloods or the coaching changes that have occurred in the ACC. And he's really stormed the Clemson program through that door. And I have utmost respect for him as a person, as a coach. And, you just know what you're going to get. The identity of a Brad Brownell coach team hasn't changed, and he's done it at a place with very little winning tradition. And maybe Clemson's a basketball school now.
Tennessee got beat the other night by Kentucky, last night by Kentucky. You got this weekend Auburn and Alabama 1-2. Florida and Condon got hurt for them last night as well. They're saying it's an ankle injury, so, obviously his prognosis is still a little bit up in the air. So, Mull, give me an idea of what you think as far as that matchup 1 and 2. Is the national champion playing in that game, and then how many do you have in your stable now that you think are in the running to win the Natty?
Well, it's a short list, and Auburn and Alabama are both on it. Auburn, I still have some concerns because of their poor performance in some recent NCAA tournaments. And, but when you look at this team, and I mean, Janai Broome has been battled some injuries through the years, but when you look at their backcourt, when you look at a guy like Baker Mazzara, what Miles Kelly has meant coming over from Georgia Tech, I mean, they just check all the boxes. They're deep. They're deep with scores. They're deep with physicality. They're going to play hard. And then I think Alabama. I snuck a ticket on them a while back when they were kind of scuffling a little bit. I think Alabama is one of those teams that is the perfect case of, they got there last year, first time in program history. And they kind of got through that, and they weren't quite ready. They ran into a really good team, but this team's maybe better. They're loaded. So I mean, certainly Auburn and Alabama, Duke. As far as sleepers, I like Kentucky. I don't know if they can win it all, but I certainly think the Kentucky team could be a very, very dangerous team in March. And, Houston, I want to believe in Houston. We love Kelvin Sampson. There's no reason not to believe. I mean, you look at they've lost 4 games. 3 of their 4 losses were in overtime, and 1 was by 5 points to Auburn on a neutral floor, the second game of the season. So certainly nothing there that concerns you. And defense is going to carry them. I mean, I would think anything short of the Final Four for Kelvin Sampson this year would be a huge disappointment. Can they continue to make enough shots? Well, they have all year. They're 7th in the league. 7th in the nation in 3-point percentage. They're 7th in offensive rebounding, and they don't turn the ball over. So that means they're going to get a lot more shots than you every game, and they've been knocking them down, which is a really good formula. So we'll throw Houston in there as a legit contender. This is probably Kelvin's best team. I don't know if he would say the same, but I just think having guys like Cryer and Sharp, along with, of course, their typical rugged front court, I think they've got a little more firepower than some past Houston squads.
And we haven't had a chance to really talk to you here in recent weeks. You've been busy and got a lot happening. Busy guy, that Brian Mull. But let's talk UNC. Hubert's decided we're going to get a GM. Will Hubie be there to work with that GM?
Boy, it's really going to be interesting. And this I've tried to talk to some of my dialed-in Carolina people, and nobody can give me a definitive answer. Certainly, there's a lot of frustration, really, with the effort Did they felt like here in 2 of their last 3 games that were obviously must-win type of games if you're even wanting to be in consideration for the tournament, that they just didn't compete at Duke or at Clemson against 2 of the top 2 teams or two of the top 3 teams in the ACC. And now it looks like maybe he's lost the team. There's some questions of that. When you watch his post-game press conferences, he just seems to be searching for answers, and you just wonder if it's a situation where Hubert steps aside, and then what direction do they go? I mean, it'll be fascinating if that does happen because there's no obvious candidate. Is it time to blow it up altogether? Step away from the family. I mean, they've had a great run, but really, when you look at the way they're playing basketball right now on the court, it's nothing at all like what they did for 40 or 50 years that was so successful. They're not running the secondary break. They're not trying to feed the ball inside and play inside out. They're not crushing teams on the offensive glass. I mean, it's just a completely different North Carolina than what we've normally seen. I mean, in the past, they could be out there playing shirts and skins, and you would know it was UNC because of the style of play. And I mean, half the high school coaches in North Carolina ran that same offense or tried to. And it's just it's an interesting time there. I mean, North Carolina may be a football school now. I mean, you could debate that. But I think they're finding out that the name on the front of it doesn't guarantee anything like it may have once done. I mean, it's a different model. You've got to adapt to the model. The GM is certainly a move in the right direction, but they're playing catch up. There's other programs that have done that, and I think one of the biggest things that hasn't really been talked about enough is like the cachet with recruits. I mean, when you look at Brandon Ingram from Kinston signing a 3-year deal for $40 million a year, I mean, he's just another guy from Duke who's come out and done that in the last 10 years or so. And these kids want to go to the NBA, and there's not a lot of guys that have done that at a high level from UNC in the last decade or so.
Yeah, Brian Mull. Do appreciate it. There he goes, Brian Mull with us here. Follow him on Twitter at BG Mull. The world we're living in, Pilk. Alabama, Auburn, Clemson, basketball schools, North Carolina, a football school, cats sleeping with dogs. It's chaos.
Yeah, Patrick, I never thought I would see Alabama and Auburn playing each other and a 1 and a 2 next to their name and it be on the hard court. Football, absolutely. Baseball, yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. But this Saturday, number 1 against number 2, men's hoops. Who would have ever thunk it?
Nothing official yet, Pilk, but starting to hear some rumblings we could see baseball in the form of a doubleheader Friday in Greenville. Nothing official.
Not surprised. Yeah, I already texted the guys just once we got that softball game moved up and say, hey, be ready to work hours you weren't originally supposed to work.
I'm glad you brought that up. I'm moving. I'm doing the softball game tomorrow. They've moved it off of Sunday. The game that was to be played Sunday in softball has been moved up to tomorrow night for East Carolina. So we're going to do a full production on ESPN Plus. It's at 6:30, so I may be here for part of the show tomorrow, Pilk. I may not. It may be a Philip Pilkington vehicle tomorrow. We'll sort it out.
All righty. Works for me. Hey, I can always check in with. Last year on this day, I had to run it because I remember you didn't get to partake in the Shook interview from Daytona.
That's true. Yeah, it gets to this time of year, it can get a little tough. All right. You want to take a break, or do you want to go to you now and do the update? What do you want to do?
We're well past the bottom of the hour. Let's go into the update.
Okay, bottom of the hour update at quarter till. Here is Philip the Ref Pilkington with a 94.3 The Game sports flash update, 2-minute drill, and Pirate Report. Pilk?
Well, we'll go ahead and start with the news that Patrick just gave you a little information about. Head on out tomorrow now to Max R. Joyner Family Stadium at 6:30 as the Pirates will host Radford as part of the beginning of the Pirate Clash. They will host Radford, UMBC, and number 22 Boston University this weekend in that Pirate Clash. Admission is free this weekend and all season long. Men's basketball was victorious last night, 82-75 over the Blazers of UAB. C.J. Walker led the way with 29 points. The Pirates have now won back-to-back, and they'll travel to arch rival Charlotte on Saturday at 4 o'clock to take on the last-place 49ers. There'll be a 3:30 airtime on 107.9 only, as 94.3 will have Pirate Baseball, which is, as of now, it looks like it's beginning at 2. But, hey, Mother Nature may have other ideas when it comes to that. Staying on the hard court, the women's team will be in action tonight. They're on a 2-game win streak. They'll be on ESPN Plus. That game tips off at 7:30. They will be playing at the Roadrunners of UTSA. Tonight's Daytona 500 qualifying live from the World Center of Racing at 8 o'clock. For the first time in many years, they had a practice prior to the Daytona 500 qualifying. Denny Hamlin, the 3-time Daytona 500 winner, was fastest in practice. That'll do it for your 94.3 The Game Sports Flash Update and Pirate Report. We're going to take our final time out here on the Patrick Johnson Show and be back to wrap it up right after this.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
252-946-1227.
Looking for a great deal on a new Nissan? At Greenville Nissan, we've got a great selection of new Nissans for under $30,000. The stylish Nissan Sentra, offering top-notch fuel economy. The Nissan Altima, known for its comfort and technology. The Nissan Kicks, the perfect combination with its compact design and performance. The Nissan Versa, delivering incredible value without compromising on features. And don't forget the Nissan Rogue, an award winner for 10 years in a row. Drive it home just for $22 down and $349 a month. Visit GreenvilleNissan.com today. Greenville Nissan, where we drive to serve.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
252-946-1227. Storm season is approaching. North Carolina weather can damage your roof, and before long, a small leak can turn into a big problem. Your home is one of your biggest investments, so protect it with Wells Home Improvements.
We work with all insurance companies for a hassle-free roof installation experience. Call us today and get 10% off your roof installation when you mention this commercial.
252-227-8403 or visit us online at wellshomeimprovements.com. Wells Home Improvements. Local, honest, dependable.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's Cut in Color. And let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
Pirate fans, 2025 East Carolina football season tickets are on sale now and can be purchased for as little as $115. Head coach Blake Harrell wants you to be a part of his first full season as the Pirate coach as he builds momentum off of the 8-win season and the Military Bowl win over North Carolina State. Call 1-800-DIAL-ECU or go to ECUPirates.com today to get your 2025 season tickets.
We have you covered with all the ECU news and beyond that you need for the drive home. The Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
Well, tomorrow, Mike Mullis will be on ESPN Plus again this year for all of the baseball action on television. Will be on there with us tomorrow on the Patrick Johnson Show. Mully and I will be on the call of what is increasingly looking like a doubleheader with a start time of 1 p.m. Again, nothing official, but that's some of the scuttlebutt that is out there. Now, I think you could pretty well count on Friday, because it looks like it's going to be really nice weather Friday. They're going to go ahead and get 2 in and then just figure out where they'll play that third game between George Mason and ECU. Also, it's our annual check-in with Scott Shook, so we'll try to do that. Shooky is down in Daytona. He was at the ball game last night, Pilk, as you know.
Yeah, I ran into him at halftime.
He called me as the show was coming on the air yesterday, and I texted him and said, on the air, and then he had some snide remark, as only Shooky can.
Yeah.
And I finally talked to him after the show last night, and he was up at the Murphy Center. He may have had a libation or two. I don't know. Not shook. And it was off the clock, Pete. And so Shooky was up there. Did I tell you what Coach went to the basketball game against Rice? My dad. Oh, let me say one other thing here, a personal point of privilege. A get well soon. My mom had some surgery today. She's doing well. I talked to her. Real in and out, quick kind of surgery, but a little recovery involved with it. So she's home resting. So get well soon, Mama J. But my dad was up there, and he was actually sitting behind Henry at the basketball game against Rice. And Sunholder was there. And Sonny walked by, and, Henry's got a man crush on Sonny Sunholder.
Well, so, Patrick, you're telling me your father, your boss, and your boyfriend were all at the game at the same time, and you were over there calling?
Yeah, okay. So, and Shook goes, something about Sunholder, and then Shook turns to my dad, who he probably barely knows, and said, "There's a real broadcaster. Tell Patrick I said that."
What is up with you two? Why do you two not like each other?
Who? No. Shook's just like Shook likes to give you a hard time. I was the MC for Shook's roast.
Oh, that's right.
Back in the fall. MC PJ. So anyway, that is what we're looking at tomorrow. Shooky from Daytona and Mullis on the Pirate baseball season. We'll obviously have an idea of what's going on with the games. Because they're going to have ECU softball tomorrow, and because of some other things with scheduling and traveling and other obligations, Pilk will be on standby to host. I'll let you know as soon as possible. In about 3 minutes, Pilk, we'll talk about it.
All righty.
But yeah, that'll be. So Daytona this year, they're starting the time trial stuff tonight? Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, the qualifying tonight at like 8 o'clock or
Qualifying.
something.
Okay, are you going to watch that or?
Yeah, I think I'll triple screen it.
That's in your bailiwick, isn't it?
Yeah, Duke and Cal, the Four Nations tournament. Hockey.
Yeah, what is the Four Nations thing? In about a minute, can you explain the Four Nations thing?
So they kicked the All-Star break. They took the best players in the NHL from Canada, U.S., Finland, and Sweden. They're playing a round-robin tournament over the next week.
Why?
Because they feel like patriotism will get more people to watch it, and there's more games than just one game, so more money.
What about the Russians?
Yeah, Russians and Czechs kind of got hosed on this. No Ovi, no Pasternak, no any of those guys. So yeah, that's kind of the weird thing about it. It kind of just automatically hoses guys from being all-stars who are really good.
Thanks to the guys on 99.9 The Fan for having me on today. We were able to talk about ECU's basketball when they wanted me for baseball chatter tomorrow, but I just don't think I can pull it off. So we'll see. Maybe Friday with the Up Next guys, Paul and Graham. They do a great job. Thanks to Brian Mull for being with us today. He was great. And Mike Mullis tomorrow. Scott Shook from Daytona, if we can find him. Thanks to Pilk. Back in the morning on Talk of the Town with the big hit coming in. Thank God. And then we'll have the show tomorrow for you. See you then.